Welcome to the newest episode of Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. I'm your host, Jason Fraley, picking the brains of the top filmmakers, musicians, and artists of our time. Counting Crows bring their signature alt-rock sound to MGM National Harbor this Friday. I spoke with guitarist David Immerglück about the band's biggest hits, from Mr. Jones to Round Here, Hanginaround to Accidentally in Love. Hey, David, thanks so much for joining us.
So glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
What can we expect from the show? If our listeners have maybe seen you guys before, how might this be different? Or is it the same hits that they always come to see you guys?
Well, we're always changing our set, but, it's kind of, it doesn't look good when I say the band is on fire, but I'm telling you, the band is on fire, particularly at this time, because traveling and touring during the pandemic, the rest of the travel day and all the other things that surround touring kind of suck, because we've had to keep ourselves in a bubble. So the best part of the day is sound check and playing the show, which it usually is anyway. But we're just really appreciating playing. We're really appreciating playing to audiences, and it's just sort of a love fest. So it's been really, really great. And we got some new material that we've been playing, and it's been going over really well as well. So it's been a lot of fun.
Cool. Yeah, you mentioned the pandemic. Where are you guys at in, getting back out there? Like, when about did you start touring again?
We've been out for about 6 weeks, I want to say. We've crossed the country. We started in Atlantic City on the East Coast and made our way to the West Coast. And I wasn't sure we were going to make it that far. And now I'm talking to you from Jacksonville, Florida. We've already made it back across the country again. We're making our way up to you.
I appreciate that.
We've been out for a little while now.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, DC is really excited to see, and National Harbor is definitely a cool venue.
We always love DC. I gotta say. Yeah.
Why is that?
It's just a friendly city to us, and it's just a nice place to be. We actually had to, pandemic-wise, we actually had a case right after our first show in the crew, and we had to shut down for about a week. And we had to cancel a couple of shows. One of them we're redoing at the end of the tour, but we actually holed up in DC because we like it so much. It was a nice place to stay while we were waiting to get clear to start up again.
Oh, really? That's where you were hanging out.
It's one of our homes away from home.
Right. But everything is okay with the crew member now?
Oh yeah, that was months ago. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm glad DC.
Yeah, we haven't had it. Well, thank God we haven't had an incident since. But, I talk to other bands that are out on the road, and people are catching it even when they're vaccinated. You just got we're living in a really strict bubble out here ourselves. We've got pretty strict rules we're applying to ourselves, and so some people maybe aren't doing the same thing. And I know some friends of mine who are also on tour have had to shut down because they've contracted the bug. So.
Yeah, it's a very bizarre time for.
It really is
for both. That's why
I say when we actually make it to the stage, it is a miracle, and we're loving it, and it's something.
Awesome. You joined the band a couple years in, as one of their guitarists, but remind our listeners how the band actually got together back in Berkeley, California.
Well, you weren't. Adam and I go back as friends and music mates, predating Counting Crows by almost 10 years.
Oh, awesome.
And, there was a fertile Bay Area scene in the 80s. And that's when this was happening. And he and I met in 1984 and have been, best friends and music mates ever since. And I was working in I had a recording studio, and David Bryson, founding member of Counting Crows, also had a recording studio. And sometimes when my place was overbooked, I'd go use his studio. He produced bands that I was in, it was very incestuous. And one session I was doing over at his studio, I actually hired my housemate, Adam Duritz, to come sing background vocals on this thing. It was a Sordid Humor record, I believe. And introduced him to David Bryson. They hit it off, and they started writing songs, and suddenly they had this duo. And then that turned into a band called Counting Crows. So I was kind of there at the beginning.
So you do remember all that. Wait, when did you, so you said before any of that, you said you met Adam Duritz in 84. When did you first meet him?
In 84. I had gone off on this European sojourn that you do as a 20-year-old if you're brought up in the Bay Area. U-Rail pass, backpack, acoustic guitar, pile of books, and I went around Europe for about 4.5 months. And I came back and First thing I did when I got back to Berkeley was call my guy I've been playing with music with since 7th grade, this guy Dan Eisenberg, this keyboard player, who's still out. He's done stuff with Ryan Adams, and he plays with the Mother Hips and all these different bands. But he and I go way, way back, and I called him to, hey, what's going on in town? And he goes, oh, I joined this new band. We're rehearsing in my apartment. Come check it out. And that was this band called Maud L Society that Adam was in. That's when I met Adam, this incredible singer, and he and I started arguing about records, and we still are.
Gotcha. Well, speaking of records,
that was a long time ago. Long time ago.
Long time ago, but
we're closing in on 40 years on that one. Counting Crows is closing in on 30 years. It's insane.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, 30. Yeah, you're right, because what are we in 2021? So 2023 will be 30 years since August and everything after.
There actually was a Counting Crows in 1989, 90. That's when there was a version of the band at that point. But the world at large didn't hear about it until 1993. So we call that the sort of ground zero of Counting Crows.
Right, exactly. So the band is 30 years old itself, but the rest of the world, it was 1993, August and everything after. Man, that album was massive. Take me, I don't know how much you remember the creation of Mr. Jones, but as it's been relayed to you, at least through the years and playing it, why do you think that song works so well?
It's really funny. I very well remember the creation of it, because we were all, doing stuff all the time in the Bay Area, and I was in a bunch of bands, and I was making a bunch of records. I was in this band called Monks of Doom. I was playing with Camper Van Beethoven, and I came home, and Adam was already writing with Dave Bryson. I came home, I'd made this recording with Monks of Doom of this Mothers of Invention song called Who Are the Brain Police at this really kick-ass studio in San Francisco. And I brought home the mix, and I was like, oh, Adam, check this out. And I was really proud of it. Yeah, I still am. It's a really freaky recording. But he goes, oh, that's cool. Check this out. And it was a demo for Mr. Jones, which was this like weird, Alesis beatbox, like budget drum machine, and nothing like what you hear now as Mr. Jones. But it was basically the chord progression in Adam's lyrics, and this drum machine. And so we were just sort of trading tapes, hey, check, here's what I did. What did you do today? And Mr. Jones was his song. And it's taken on a whole other life, obviously. But everything changed once, August and everything after started getting recorded, and T-Bone Burnett got involved. Sort of like the whole patina of the band changed, because it was sort of like a Roxy Music, Peter Gabriel-esque sound, Talk, if you know those bands.
Sure.
And T-Bone just identified that, oh, there's this whole earthier, rootsier sound to these songs, a la Van Morrison, the band, and that influence was brought in and served the band very well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. What can you tell me? I mean, that same album. What can you tell me about Round Here? Because that predated Counting Crows too.
Round Here was was from a band called the Himalayans that Adam was in before Counting Crows, and he brought that song along. It sounded totally different with the Himalayans. It was super weird, emo, indie rocky, darker, sort of the Cure type of song. And he and David Bryson were doing it as an acoustic duo for a really long time. Really cool. And brought that song in,
Oh, it's just one of the great ones. All right, cool.
We still play it almost every night. Never gets old. Same with Mr. Jones.
Oh, I'm sure you can still shred on the guitar.
We have a pretty deep catalog at this point, so it's pretty fun.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I know, August and everything after, a lot of bands struggle with that sophomore slump coming up with something after that. But Recovering the Satellites was maybe not quite as big, but still pretty darn big. I mean,
Long December on it. That's one of our biggest songs as well. So
that's what I was going to ask you about. Long December. Yeah. Long December, I love that song. It's definitely a little bit more of a, melancholic sort of sound, but it's got that hope, maybe this year will be better than the last.
Yeah.
But
which means it takes on a whole new meaning this year.
Oh yeah. Well, explain what it sort of talked about then, and then go more into.
Well, I'd have to leave that to
about
there were some incidents in Los Angeles at the time that song refers to, but it's sort of a universal thing, Yeah, and like you say, hope for next year will be better than the last.
And a
So
whole new meaning.
I don't want to delve into too much of what the meanings of the songs are. That's a dangerous territory, especially for someone with as vivid imagination as myself.
But it does have a new meaning when you play it now, for sure.
Absolutely.
Post
Oh, it
pandemic,
resonates. When we sing that line now, the place usually erupts,
everyone's like, "Yes, you're
Yeah.
preach."
Bring it, please, Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We gotta at least hit something off that third album, "This Desert Life." Hanging Around.
We
That
play
one was
that. We
upbeat.
played a lot of. That's a band favorite album. We touch that album a lot every night. And Hanging Around gets played every night, but a lot of other songs do too. But we rotate them in and out. We play High Life a lot. We play Wish I Was a Girl a lot. We've been playing St. Robinson and His Cadillac Dreams a bit on this time. It's a favorite of Miss Potter's Lullaby. And that's sort of when I got back involved in the band pretty heavy, was on that album.
Right. Well, take me elaborate what you mean about got back involved, because like you say, you predate even Counting Crows. You guys
Yeah, and
go
I
back
actually
and forth.
I helped make the first album, but then I went off for reasons I can't even remember now. But I wound up playing with John Hyatt, if you know who that is, American singer-songwriter. I played with him and made a bunch of records with him for several years there. Did happen to be in the room when Long December was being recorded, and I would always touch base with Adam, and if I was in town when Counting Crows were playing, I'd usually get up and play with them. But I came down and started. My friends from Camper Van Beethoven, David Lowery, and the producer Dennis Herring were actually producing This Desert Life, and Adam had me come down to play on the record, and it was a slump in the time I was playing with John Hyatt, and the next thing I know, I'm out on tour with Counting Crows, and I'm a full-time band member. So
awesome. Sounds so.
That record holds a special meaning to me as well.
Yeah, diving back in.
And yes, I played a little bass on that. I played bass on 4 days on that one.
That's really cool. Do you guys play anything from Hard Candy in the set still?
We always play stuff from Hard. We usually touch every album. We usually touch every album one way or another. We play Miami a lot. We play a lot of tunes. We try and touch every album, every show. Some get more attention than others depending on the show.
Cool. Well, just to sort of keep taking it chronologically, I mean, a whole new generation, I guess younger folks would probably remember you from the Shrek 2 soundtrack, Accidentally in Love. Do you ever get young people come up and say, "Oh, you're that band?" Like, no idea of who Counting Crows were at first, but they remember you just from friggin' Shrek.
You have people who know that song. I mean, we take it where we can get it. That song was funny because it was sort of like almost a cast off. We were in the middle of tour. Manager called and said, "Hey, there's a, and at that time, it was like to get these songs on these movies, it was almost like a competition. You'd submit your song, and you didn't know who else was doing it. All these people were submitting songs to get placed in this movie, and we were given a slot to compete, and like, oh, okay, and we wrote it on the road, and we were in between. A European tour that we just finished, and we were going to South Africa. I'll never forget it. And we finished in Holland, and we booked some studio time in London, and just flew over there for 2 days, recorded this song, and then we're gone to South Africa and continuing our touring. And it was like, oh, we recorded it, blah, blah, never thought about it again. And the next thing we know, 5 weeks later, it's like, oh, you got the placement. They took the song. It's like, oh, awesome, that's cool. And then, 6 months after the movie comes out, and then 6 months after that, you're nominated for an Oscar for that song. It's like, what? What are you talking about? We're just going our merry way, continuing with our Counting Crows touring life, and this thing is going on behind the scenes.
Now, did you actually get to go to Oscar night?
Pardon me?
Did you actually get to go to Oscar night in the audience?
We did go to the Oscars, yeah. Yeah.
Well, what was that like? Walking the red carpet and be sitting there.
And just absolutely surreal and insane. We actually got to play the song on TV. Most people didn't get to play their songs that night, but somehow our manager hooked it up so that we were actually able to perform it, which was more important than even, winning or being nominated. Because at that time, so many people were watching the Oscars. I don't know if they are now. But the funny thing about it was, my apartment in LA is a block away from the theater where that Oscars was being filmed. So I was able to just sort of, walk a block and a half to the red carpet, It was, I don't think most people could say that. But.
They just extend the carpet all the way to
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Can you just extend it another block and a half up Highland Boulevard? That'd be cool.
Awesome. Well,
They had the whole neighborhood locked down like it was ground zero at that, for the week before, it turns into a police state around the Oscars just for security. It's pretty crazy.
Especially then, right post 9/11. I mean, it was just
It was right after that. So
yeah. Did you any fun before we move off of that memory? Any fun, run-ins with any of your, you usually appearing in a music realm, but
Prince was there to give out the award, and every band member had some writing credit on our song, And my name is, hard to pronounce in any situation, And so he's just reading off the, a sheet of paper that he's got, Accidentally in Love by Adam Duritz, Stan Vickery, David Immerglück, and he mispronounced my name on live TV. My family's watching at home up in the Bay Area, and I'm just like, oh my God, this is the worst thing that's ever happened. Prince mispronounced my name, and then all of a sudden it hit me. No, this is the best thing that's ever happened. Prince mispronounced my name on national TV. That is awesome. So there's that. And then also I got to run into Kristen Dunst in the hallway, and she was gorgeous that night. So that was pretty hot.
A memorable night. Well, just to make sure I don't botch it, give our audience and Prince, the late Prince, rest in peace, the proper way to pronounce your last name.
Immerglück.
All right, cool. I'll make sure
but there's an umlaut over the U, which probably confuses people because it looks like two eyes all of a sudden.
It's all about the umlaut. Well, I promise I won't make
the
same mistake as Prince. That's well. I mean, we could talk. I mean, all your albums, you guys cranked them out Saturday night, Sunday morning, Somewhere Under Wonderland, Butter Miracle Sweet One, that you guys kept cranking out. But of all the stuff, do you night in night out on the guitar, do you have a song that you either that you think is sort of like underrated, that you like, oh, I love playing this every night, and you're kind of mad if it's not in the set?
I wouldn't say mad. I mean, it really, those kind of things change from tour to tour and from night to night. But, I really like playing High Life because I think it's such an unusual piece of music, and people don't usually clamor for it, I don't know, I wish I was, again, some of the weird songs on This Desert Life. Our new stuff, the Butter Miracle Suite, is going over really well, which is feels really good. Because sometimes you play new stuff and people don't care, Interestingly, we always play Palisades Park from Somewhere Under Wonderland, which, again, is a piece of music I'm really proud of. And we've been playing it for years, and it's, never been greeted with, particular adulation. But now we've got a new record past it, and when we play it now, people are like, "Yeah, they're playing this song." It's really bizarre. People's, the public's reaction to stuff. But it's always a go figure type of situation. You can't. There's no accounting for it. We just do what we do.
I love it, and it's got to feel good when people react to songs that you don't think they will, or even your newer stuff.
That's why I say the new reactions to the new thing are really, really great, and that's like, oh, that feels really good.
Awesome. Everyone, definitely, we want to encourage them to check out the new record too. Before we run, whenever I have a band member on, and the other band members aren't there to defend themselves. I'm not saying embarrass them, but dish on them, either make them blush when they listen back or make them laugh. Tell us, what makes Adam special and the rest of the guys.
Oh, come on! I'm not going to go there. We got 30 years of inner band neuroses to that we all love each other. The fact that we're still standing and enjoy each other's company is actually a miracle, and one of the reasons we are still standing. We do enjoy each other's company. So
you don't have to embarrass them, but say something positive. What makes Adam such a talented lead and frontman of the band?
Well, for my money, he's like one of the best singers of his generation, honestly. And also, he's an improviser, all right? And most people from the 90s aren't, they don't really know what that is. And he changes it up all the time, and it keeps it fresh. It keeps me fresh. I'm always reacting to him. I'm a bit an improviser as well. We do come from the San Francisco Bay Area, which has sort of got a history of that. And so I'll throw weird things in, and I can hear him responding to it. You know what I mean? And he's just got a great ear. He's got a great sense of melody, and above all, he's got just this innate sense of timing. Our drummer Jim Bogus commented on that. We were tripping on that recently because we hadn't played as a band for 2 years because of the pandemic. We got back together and we're like, oh yeah, remembering what's so great about it. But Adam's got really, really great timing, and it's in his piano. I always say he's a great piano player. He hates his piano playing, but I love it when he plays piano. Just not because of his facility on the instrument, but because of his timing. And he has that timing in his vocal phrasing, you know. So I think that's one of the things that makes him really particularly special, and just a wild melodic imagination.
Oh, absolutely.
So there you have it.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you. It's one of those.
I didn't have to dish. Oh, I could dish, but I won't do that here.
That's
we dish amongst ourselves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's for when you're off the radio.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Well, man, this has been a treat. I grew up with you guys' stuff, but it's interesting now. Bands from your peers, early '90s are now being played on like classic rock now, and I'm starting to think, you know what? It makes me think bigger picture questions. Whether I know you're gonna say you don't care about accolades, but do you think? Make your case for why you could be like a Rock Hall one day. I really think you could be once bands from this era start getting in.
Well, don't get me. I have my weird opinions about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I think they miss a lot of great things and put some stuff up there that. Who cares? But I'm a deep record collector, so those kind of accolades don't mean much to me. But when Neil Young is giving a thumbs up, on the side of the stage, that means a whole lot to me. When Robert Plant says he loves us, that means you could shoot me at that point. You know what I'm saying? And we've had that happen. So everything else is just I don't know about the accolades. The fact that we're still standing is just testament to itself, I think.
Hey, Neil Young and Robert Plant is all the accolades that anybody.
You know what I'm saying? Can you imagine? We were playing the if you remember the Bridge benefit concerts that he would put on in the Bay Area, these acoustic things for benefits for multiple sclerosis. He was doing it. I don't think he's doing it anymore, but he was doing it annually for 15 years or so. And we went and played one of these things, and all these bands are on it. The thing is, you have to play acoustic, right? And it's a 2-day affair. And the one that we did, I want to say Wilco was on it. Dashboard Confessional, Pearl Jam is almost always on it. Some other interesting people were there, and a friend of mine from the Camper Van Beethoven days was working with Pearl Jam. He was guitar teching for them. And so we'd played the day before, and now it's the second day, and it's in the afternoon. And I want to say Wilco was playing. And I go over to the Pearl Jam guitar pit on the side of the stage to go see my friend Nick. And I'm sitting there talking to him. Hadn't seen him in years. Then I sit on this road case, and I watch Wilco for a little while. And suddenly, plonk, I feel this someone else sitting next to me watching Wilco, and I turn around and say, it's Neil Young. I'm like, oh God, And so I just turn to him and say, hey, it's such an honor to be playing this thing. Thanks so much for having it. And he sort of interrupts me. And he's taller than you think, Neil Young. We're sitting next to each other, but he's sitting taller than me, Huh. And he's looked down on me, and he's like, yo, you guys are a tough band. You're a tough band. I'm like, what? You're sensitive, but you're tough. And you're tall, rangy dudes, but you're playing sensitive music. It's like, whoa, and he's like giving all these accolades. I'm like, you can just, like I say, you could just shoot me right then, Yeah. What more could you ask for?
No, that's the pinnacle. That's the pinnacle right there. Awesome. Well, we appreciate you joining us, and it's going to be great. Everybody better check out Counting Crows, October 1st at MGM National Harbor. Thanks so much for joining us, David. I really
thank you. Hey, D.C. statehood, let's make it happen.
Yeah, what do you guys write a song about that for us, will you?
Hell yes.
No, you'll see some license plates with the old, taxation without representation. That's us.
Yeah, no kidding.
All right,
cool. Man. Hey, thanks a lot for having me. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Good luck at the show.
Hey, thanks, bro. Cheers.
Thanks. Thanks so much for joining us on Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. Remember to hit the subscribe button and give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. We'll see you next time. I wanted to take a second to tell you about an app I really enjoy. Living in the D.C. area is great, and Podcast D.C. gathers all of the local shows that I like all in one local app. Health, sports, local news, politics, and so much more. Podcast D.C. is the new local app with hundreds of D.C. area podcasts to choose from. I can earn exciting rewards just for listening and share the podcasts I love instantly. Available in the App Store or in Google Play, listen local with Podcast D.C.